Hello, welcome to Gurukul's CAT 100 series, a series that's designed specifically to take you from your study room to the corporate boardroom. I am Prady Sharma and this is Verbal Mastery with Prady.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today is day 63 in our 100 days to CAT test series. If you want to take this passage as a test, all you've got to do is go on to www.thegurukul.org.in and sign up for our 100 days to CAT test series. In case you want to follow along with this video, then this is your first passage. Read this passage, pause the video here, jot down all the main points, and then we're going to go into the second paragraph. This is your second paragraph. Pause the video here, jot down all the main points, and then we're going to go into the questions of this passage. Now, this is question number 1. Pause the video here, answer this question, and then we're going to go into the question number 2. This is question number 2. Pause the video here, answer this question, and then we're moving into the question number 3. This question number 3. Pause the video here, answer this question, and then we're going to move into the question number 4. This is question number 4. Pause the video here, answer this question, and then we're going to move into the passage and question explanations. But before that, now that you've finished answering all the 4 questions, put those answers down in the comment box so that we can verify how many questions you've gotten correct. Let's get into the passage and question explanations without any further ado. Now, what does the first passage talk to us about? Previous investigations into the workings of memory usually tested episodic memory, which describes the recall of specific events as well as the ability to remember names and whereabouts of items like car keys. Okay, so what do I know? I understand that all the investigations, all the studies that have been done before, okay, these are talking about episodic memory. All right. Now, what is episodic memory? It's basically the recall of specific events as well as the ability to remember names and whereabouts. Now, this ability usually remains intact until mid-60s when people often become forgetful of things like recent events and minor details. So, I know that episodic memory stays intact up till somewhere around mid-60s. Okay, that is the idea that I get from here. While some researchers suggest that this well-known decline in episodic memory in the elderly stems from the degeneration of frontal lobes of the brain. So what is degeneration? Degeneration is gradual breakdown. Okay, degeneration of the frontal lobes of the brain. Many scientists believe that such memory loss is largely due to retirement. After the demands of the work stops, most people no longer exercise their mental faculties as strenuously with constant effort. Okay, so thus regular mental exercise might curtail memory loss. So basically what's he saying? Okay, lot of people, okay, feel that this decline of episodic memory happens due to degeneration. Okay, but many scientists, okay, think that this is not the cause. Instead, the cause is retirement. That means we are not using our brain enough. We have, after the demands of the work stop, we are not using our brain enough. So because of retirement, this episodic memory is going on. That's the idea that I get from this part of the passage. But episodic memory comprises only part of this intricate brain function. Memory researchers have identified 2 other types of memory, neither of which seems to deteriorate with age. That means what? Together I have 3 different types of memory, episodic memory and 2 other types of memory. Only episodic memory is decreasing. That's what the memory researchers have identified. New studies suggest that we have more than one kind of memory and imply that elderly people who suffer from forgetfulness can utilize the other types of memory to compensate for the decline. So even if this is going down, these other 2 types of memories can be used by these elderly people to compensate for whatever we have lost over here. This new conception of memory stems from a shift in methodology from memory research. While older studies of memory and aging involved comparisons between different age groups, recent investigations tested the same group of people over a number of years. So what do we understand? Previously, whatever studies have happened, these studies used to test different age groups of people. Okay, they used to test young people versus old people, or maybe amongst the old people also, people in 50s, people in 60s, people in 70s, that way. But what happened to the new studies? In the new studies, they're testing the same group of people over the years. So this is a longitudinal study. Okay. Such longitudinal data more clearly establishes the relation between memory and aging. Though these studies of older adults, researchers concluded that there exist three major kinds of memory, only one of which declines in the old age. And which one declines in the old age? Obviously, episodic memory. We understand that, right? Okay. So let's go to the second part of this passage and let's try to understand what are the other types of memory that the researchers have found about and what have they actually found about those memories. So the second type of memory I can clearly see is the semantic memory. And what is this semantic memory? Apparently it's the ability to recall knowledge of facts as well as events in the distant past, does not seem to lessen over the course of a lifetime. So if you remember, most of our grandparents would be telling us stories about how things were back in their day, okay, the golden time, how they have learned different things and all. Now these kind of things come under the semantic memory, the long-term memory, and apparently this does not go down in the old age. If anything, okay, in fact, such memory may even be sharper in elderly people than in young or middle-aged people. That means what? Not only does it not reduce in old age, but it gets sharper, it gets better as well. When a group of men and women in the 60s were tested on specific vocabulary lists and retested on the same list a decade later, the group had improved their scores by an average of 6 words, an increase researchers consider substantial. That means what? This is proof. Okay, for whatever is the theory that he has given over here, from here to here, this part acts as a proof. Okay, such studies suggest that by taking notes or mulling over events. Now what is mulling over events? Being in constant thought. Okay, constantly thinking about events. Elderly people who suffer from forgetfulness can store more information in the semantic memory, thus compensating for episodic memory loss. So maybe if these elderly people, they're not able to remember where they have put the keys. Whenever they have put the keys somewhere, they can keep on thinking, oh, I put the keys in the basket. After a little while, oh, I put the keys in the basket. That way, if they keep on thinking, they will definitely be able to compensate the loss of episodic memory, thereby remembering where the keys are. Now, implicit memory. So this is my third type of memory. So what are the three types of memory that he has spoken about in this passage? One is episodic memory, second one is semantic memory, and third one is implicit memory, right? So implicit memory deals with tremendous variety of mental activities we perform without making any intentional effort. Examples of these include actions like driving a car, touch typing, or riding a bicycle. So what are these? These are instinctive, actions. These do not require any mental effort, and hence implicit memory does not go down. In a particular study, amnesiac patients who had been an avid golfer, avid, very proficient at something is avid. Okay, very proficient at something is avid. So an avid golfer, before developing a memory problem, remembered which club to use. Club is that type of bat kind of a thing that you use for golf. Those are called as clubs. So which club to use for each stroke. However, he forgot that he played a hole within minutes of having done so. That means what? He remembered, okay, which bat or which club exactly to use for what kind of a hole. But he forgot that he played that hole. That means episodic memory, the recall of the past event, just the past event, has gone down, but not instinctive memory or the implicit memory. Okay. In addition, further studies of amnesiacs have shown that people with these disorders can learn new facts but cannot remember when and where they have learned them. That means they can constantly learn new facts, they can assimilate knowledge, but they do not know where they got that knowledge from, or they forget where they got that knowledge from. Studies of people in their 60s and 70s showed similar results. Like amnesiacs, older people are able to learn from new experience as well as younger people, but often have difficulty remembering the source of the knowledge or skills. While the findings are encouraging, it must be noted that these studies do not deal with memory problems associated with illness or injury to the brain. Great. So all these findings are great. We understood now about how memory declines in the old age, or how memory can be challenged in the old age, but it does not tell us anything about brain injury or what happens to memory or memory loss that comes with illness. Now that we've understood the passage, let's get into the questions of this passage. So question number 1, based on the information provided in the passage, author implies that advanced age might adversely affect which of the following. So which kind of a memory will get declined? So first, let's try to understand what are these three options actually telling us. Memory of details of a recent conversation. Now, memory of details of a recent conversation is nothing but an episodic memory, right, according to the passage. So this might go down. So obviously, I will mark down for this. Recollection of childhood memories. Now, what is recollection of childhood memories? It's nothing but the semantic memory, right? Yes. So this might not go down. In fact, it gets sharper. So this will be an upward arrow. Ability to perform routine tasks. Now, ability to perform routine tasks are nothing but your implicit memory, right? So obviously, this also does not go down. So we can put this also with an upward arrow. So which one will be adversely affected? The only down arrow is A. So my correct answer will be 1 only. Now for the second question, With regard to a new research into memory and the various points brought out in the passage, the author's attitude might be described as one of unbridled enthusiasm. That means uncontrolled enthusiasm. Is he very, very excited about this research? No, he does not look like he's extremely excited about his research. And why does it not look like that? Because he has also spoken about limitations to his research, right? So this may not be my correct answer. Very skepticism, definitely not being skeptical. He is positive. Okay, the whole passage is actually positive towards, you know, this memory concept. He is saying that yes, there's only one memory part that's being affected, but there are other two that the old people can actually use. So definitely not going to be a negative option, which is very skepticism. Reserved optimism, yes. He spoke about limitations and he also spoke about how old people can improve their memory. So C looks likely. D, unbiased objectivity. He's not been objective, to be very honest. He has been positive. So I can remove D also. The best possible answer now becomes C. Now let's go to the third question. Third question asks us, what is the primary purpose of this passage? Okay. So if we look at the options, discuss the ways in which a new theory of memory challenges common assumptions regarding memory and aging. Okay. So obviously a new theory is basically telling me that the older studies or the older assumptions that I've had, that memory constantly declines in old age, is wrong. So this kind of fits to what I've learned in the passage. So this could be my answer. It's a very viable answer, but let's look at B, C, D, then we'll go back to A. B, explain why past investigations into memory tested only episodic memory. Now the problem with this answer is that it's very partial in scope. It's only the first paragraph of this 4-paragraph passage. So we are not going to consider this to be the primary purpose of our passage. C, describe recent research into the functioning of the brain. Now when you say the functioning of the brain, we only tested memory, right? But brain is too broad for me to take. So this definitely will be too broad of an answer. So I'm not going to consider either of these. D, consider the reasons why episodic memory diminished in the later years. To be very honest, he did not really give me a lot of reasons why these diminished. He only told me that a lot of people think it is either degeneration or retirement, and both of these were told only in the first paragraph, which makes this a partial scope choice. Correct? Since this is also partial scope, we are not going to take this to be our answer. The best possible answer now becomes A. Now, let's go to the third question. Based on the information in the passage, the author would probably agree with which of the following statements regarding memory problems associated with illness, disease, or injury. Now, what has he told to me about illness, disease, or injury, or memory problems associated with that? A, since many elderly suffers from such organic dysfunctions, memory researchers remain more theoretical than practical. Now, again, the author is very clearly looking at a practical standpoint, right? He is not only giving theory, but how will this theory actually be helpful to the old age people? So this may not be what the author agrees with. B, scientists do not anticipate these studies will contribute to our understanding of these disorders as well. Now, obviously, if I think that the scientists will think about, no contribution of these to our studies of disorders, then it really does not make a lot of sense. Although here in the last paragraph, he said, while the findings are encouraging, it must be noted that such studies do not deal with memory problems associated with illness, disease, or injury to the brain. So, although it does not make too much sense that, scientists are studying things, but they think that it won't happen, the author might agree with this. So, this is a viable answer for me. See, it's likely that researchers will turn towards these more critical problems in the near future. Okay, maybe yes. By looking at the past and how things have been now, maybe we can think that the author would want to think about how things would be in the future. But it's a far-fetched assumption from our side, so we're going to remove this as well. D, since such disorders do not conform to the tripartite model of memory, tripartite model means having 3 parts. Okay, let's not have these big words intimidate us. Okay, tripartite parts. Okay. So what are the tripartite model over here as far as this passage is concerned? It's nothing but the episodic, semantic, and implicit memory. Okay. So since such disorders do not conform to the tripartite model of memory, most researchers are not interested in them. Now see, we cannot comment about the interest of researchers. Okay. That's not been given in the passage at all. He's still talking about, how people are researching on memory, right? So maybe the author will not be agreeing with this. So our best possible answer that the author might agree with is B. Now that we've come to the end of this video, please tell us in the comments how many questions you've gotten correct. Hit that like button because that like motivates us a lot to bring these kind of videos for you every single day. Share this to a friend who's preparing for CAT 2025 and wants nice resources to practice for free. I'll see you in the next video.
Hope you enjoyed learning from today's session.
This series is designed to help you with your CAT preparation and practice daily. We are with you in this journey.
To watch the next video, click here. And to watch Gurukul's CAT 100 series, study room to boardroom, the entire playlist, click here.
If you learned from today's session, like, share, and subscribe.